This week, one of the most talked about cases of the year ended with former England captain John Terry being found not guilty of racially abusing another player. It follows a season of similarly high-profile stories involving football and racism. Now, you'll remember towards the end of last year, the FA banned Liverpool striker Luis Suarez for 8 matches for racially abusing a black player during a Premier League match. In May, a student was jailed after making racist remarks on Twitter about a black footballer. And ahead of the Euros in Poland and Ukraine last month, you'll remember the BBC Panorama documentary, which saw the former England footballer and team captain Sol Campbell warn fans to stay away from the tournament due to fears that supporters could be targeted by racists. Earlier, you heard about the TV doc, which you can catch on BBC Three tomorrow night, with former Premier League footballer and chair of the PFA, Clark Carlisle, exploring how far his profession's really come in tackling racism. So, following a season which saw football dogged with race rows, can the beautiful game once and for all show racism a red card? Here to share their thoughts, it's ex-Notts County footballer Michael Johnson, former Mansfield Town player Mark Clifford, and the director of Nottingham's Real United Community Football Club, Roger Henry. Very good to have you all with us.
Oh, yeah. Afternoon.
Michael, you heard Clark Carlisle saying that he has no personal experience of racism on the pitch. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it does actually. Racism is still there, it's still festering away. Maybe not out in the public, but it's still there in our game, and it's one what needs to be eradicated after so many high-profile black footballers went through so much for us to have a platform to play on, and still, 20, 30 years later, we're still discussing the same problem.
You heard Clark Carlisle talk about the fact that it's not like it was back in the day, that you don't have the whole stand shouting abuse. Has it changed that much? Yeah,
it has. I can definitely, I've been only retired 18 months ago, 2 years ago, say that it's not the whole stand. But what it is, there's still pockets of it, whether that be fan base, whether that be boardroom members, it's still there festering away, and it's no surprise to me to see certain high-profile incidents happen in the last season.
Mark, you went from a career as a professional footballer to the manager of a local semi-professional club, come community team, which is Real United, and we'll hear more about them in a moment. When it comes to racism, do you think attitudes on and off the pitch are any different?
I don't think they're any different. I think if somebody's got racist beliefs, I think that they're racist, and that's that, and that's that's probably going back in generations within their family, and it's about ill education as well, and not being positively informed on society today, because we are a multicultural society.
Let me throw this out there. A tweet from Rio Ferdinand in the past 24 hours, in fact, calling another player a chalk ice, has been met with another race row. Rarely a week's gone by where this issue hasn't been talked about, and particularly on this show hasn't been a discussion. Do you think enough's being done to tackle this issue?
I think things have blown up over the last year, and rightly so, because this is an issue that it needs addressing. But we have to remember that these things are blown up and in the public eye, but these people are a minority in our society, and we have to remember that they're on the front page of the newspaper, on the back, but there are many thousands, millions of football fans out there that are just go for the football, and that is it. So I think we really need to kind of remember the positive side of things as well.
Roger, you're working with young people through Real United, the Nottingham football club that you are the director of. Do you think professional footballers need to be setting a better example?
My slant on it, to be quite honest, Reya, is I think first of all the media have got a lot to answer to. I think things need to be kind of sorted out, but I don't think with the media coverage. It's making fantastic news. It's headlines. Young people will jump on the bandwagon with this particular subject. It's a big topic. Obviously we work with kids from all different sort of backgrounds, different ethnicities, and we try to keep that sort of community essence alive with the community cohesion that we support and what we provide. I think, as Mark's rightfully said, it does mar football. There's a lot of fantastic fans out there who are very multicultural themselves. The whole of football now, if you look at a pitch, the majority of players are from different ethnicities. And I think as long as we've got that going on for us, I think that will always eradicate the slight little glitches, which will happen from time to time. I think, as I say, the media have a lot to answer to, but I suppose the part of me that really kind of upsets me is that we've got, like, obviously there's a comment made from Rio regarding chalk ice that on its own can kind of create a lot of trouble as well, because somebody else will say, well, what do you mean by that? If you look at a chalk ice, it's brown on the outside, and that could almost infuriate or add more fuel to the fire, so to speak, regarding that particular comment.
Is the online world making this a completely different debate? I know, Michael, you've got thousands of followers. Do you find that it's kind of making the problem worse?
Yeah, of course it's because it's giving people who maybe not interested in it a platform to air their thoughts, and obviously it gives a certain area of people, plenty, ammunition to get involved in. This is something that could have really been sorted out, but for me, I think this should have been nipped in the bud pretty early on. It's dragged on for months, and now we've got this debate which could have been put to bed a long time ago. What
could have been done?
Well, you want instant action. If somebody's caught using any racist language, there should be a precedent set that the whole of football and society as a whole know that this is not acceptable, whether it's in your school and whether it's in football. Just because it's football doesn't mean that it should be set apart from any environment. If somebody gets racist abuse on the street and it's reported, then that person should be in trouble.
You heard Clark Carlisle saying that he'd like to see a clause put in footballers' contracts to say if any racist behaviour is used, that's it, you're out of the door. Is that something that you'd like to see, particularly for you, Michael and Mark, both having played professionally? Do you advocate that? How would you police it?
I mean, racism is against the law, and it's very clear to see that comments have been made recently. I'd think it'd be impossible to police, and these footballers got so much money, and their lawyers will get them out of anything, just about anything.
Do you think it's something that would have changed things when you were playing, Michael?
I find it difficult because, I don't want to talk about the case, but, that's the case which has come down to one man's word against the other. And regardless of what people might have said and who heard what on the pitch, and that's, again, what's going to cause a problem with, putting that in a player's contract. It will basically come down to my word against yours and who's going to side on whose side.
What about racism off the pitch? What's going to be done to tackle this issue? Because a lot's been said about that it's not just an issue in football, this is an issue in society, and it's something that we've all kind of alluded to so far. Is there something that can be done? Is there one thing that will be able to happen to change this?
I think lots of things are being done, and I think there's lots of positive work being done in schools, in primary. I mean, I've worked in a secondary school, and I know that there's EMAG workers in there, and they address issues as and when they occur of racism of any kind. So I think there is lots of work being done. It's just a matter of reinforcing it, so that when these young people and when these adults as well are out in society, they actually understand that it's wrong, and that it's hurtful to people.